On this episode, we talk about our guilty pleasures or the joys that we're a little embarrassed about, but we're going to go ahead and indulge in to give our mind a little break from the trash admin madness. After that, we chat with Idalia Valles, a first-generation Chicana multidisciplinary creator who you know from Queen of the South, HBO's For Rosa, and S.W.A.T. She's also part of Boy Huerca, a music project that blends tropical sounds, guitars, electronic beats, and Idalia's sultry voice. All right, this is a fun one, so let's get started. Welcome to
Tamarindo Podcast,
hosted by me, Brenda Gonzalez, a fitness coach, political nerd, and nonprofit capacity builder.
and me, Delcy Sandoval, a Guatemalan-American licensed therapist and passionate creativity advocate. Together, we're here to uplift our community through powerful conversations with changemakers, creatives, and healers.
Each week on the pod, we talk politics, culture, and personal development. Listeners call Tamarindo the Advocacy and Self-Love Podcast. Vámonos!
Let's start the show.
All right. We're back on this episode of Tamarindo. Hey, Delcy, ¿qué pasa contigo? How are you?
Hey, Brenda, you know how it is. I'm out here trying to do all of the things and live all of the lives at the same time.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm trying to be social and have a job and be a parent and take care of my health and be informed in the world. Todas las cosas.
Yeah, and on top of all that, like somehow manage the news cycle that we're the atrocities of every single week. Yes, that is a lot.
Yes.
A lot to deal with. Same here, just trying to survive. But I definitely have one less big, gigantic responsibility, which is having a child. I don't have that. So I can only imagine how much it is to juggle these days. Well, before we dive into our fun little conversation that we're going to have before we have the rest of our episode, I do want to share something that's been on my mind. So I've been using Threads. It's sort of like this new thing that we're all starting to get comfortable with. It's what has sort of replaced Twitter. And one of the things that I've been seeing a lot frequently is, where is LA's Zohran Mamdani? Why don't we have a Zohran Mamdani? There's lots of people that have been saying that. And I want to invite people, and I will link this in the show notes, to view a super educational video that Mike Bonin did. He's the executive director of the Pat Brown Institute. And here's my summary for you all, in case you're seeing this. The first thing is to challenge the premise of the question. Our structure, LA structure, is very different from New York. Short headline is that New York has a centralized structure where the mayor holds a lot of power. LA does not have that. The power is diffuse, it is shared. The mayor is actually not that powerful. And there's the city of LA, but then there's the county of LA, which is humongous. So these are not the same things, right? And you know, because you've lived in both.
Yeah. And it's why sometimes you're wondering, like, where is Karen Bass, right? You know, what is going on? And then you realize, well, it's a little bit of a different structure. And so some of the things you're just not going to see.
And some of the, and it's kind of a bummer because Karen Bass, because our brains, most people are not like occupied with understanding the structures of different cities. Karen Bass is blamed for everything. And there's lots of things that she doesn't even have control over. Most of the things that you all listeners are like, well, it's probably the county. There's very few things. Yeah. And there's a whole city council. So that's one big thing. It's like we should challenge the premise to begin with. But the other and more inspiring thing to know is that LA in many ways has been having its Zohran moment for longer. And here's the evidence. We have had a bunch of progressive candidates come up in power in recent years. So we have been responsible. We, the LA voters, have elected progressives very much like Mamdani for years. It started in 2020 most significantly with Nithya Raman, who ousted an incumbent, very, very progressive. Soon after that, Eunices Hernandez, who's my representative and I absolutely love in CD1, Hugo Soto Martinez, they were both elected in 2022, again, ousting incumbents. These are outsiders. These are not people that were career politicians. These are young progressives, mentored by Bernie in many ways. That's who these folks are. And then most recently, later, was Isabel Jurado, who was able to beat Kevin De Leon, who was someone that was super, super established, but many folks might remember he was tarnished by the fact that he was caught on tape saying racist things, saying very racist things, or at least not doing enough when his colleagues were saying racist things. And there was so much demand to get him out, and he still held on. He even freaking ran for re-election, that loser. And of course, Isabel Jurado beat him. So another one that folks might know is Kenneth Mejia, who is LA City's controller. People might remember all the posters of him and his corgis, and he's always auditing and making it accessible for us to see how the city budget is spent and how it may or may not be reflecting the values that we have. He earned more votes than any citywide candidate ever, not a political insider, a first timer. So these are just some little nuggets. I'm going to link the whole conversation or the whole video from Mike Bonin he goes a little bit deeper into this. But it should give you all, you Angelinos, if you're listening, a little bit of pride, right? That we've been doing this for longer and that we have a totally different structure. And also, some of these people are up for re-election. So Kenneth Mejia and Ulises Hernandez, we have to make sure that they get on the ballot. We have to literally sign to get them on the ballot, and we have to re-elect them. So you all just feel hopeful that we don't need our Mondami moment, because we've been having it. So I just want to pause and give you all that little nugget of inspiration.
Yes, thank you for that. And also important to say, I was going to know, we've had some of these folks on Tamarindo.
Yes.
So if you're interested in them, you can go back and take a listen.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So that's my Que Pasa, what's been on my mind. But something else that's been on both Delcy and I's minds, on our minds, is just like this idea of microdosing of joy, right? Microdosing on joy. We've been saying this for a while. This is what Delcy coined. And that sometimes, and especially right now with all that we're juggling, we need those simple pleasures, right? We need those distractions to just give our brain a little bit of reprieve. What maybe people might call guilty pleasures. But maybe today we're saying, you know what? We're going to take the guilt and put the guilt en la basura. These are just the things that we enjoy, even if they might be a little bit embarrassing. It's okay, right? We need these.
A lot embarrassing in my case.
So start us off, Delcy. What are some of your maybe embarrassing pleasures?
Okay, so right now, my brain cannot handle any more complexity, any more tragedy. So I'm having a hard time with shows in general, because if the plot is too intense, if the rising action is too stressful, I'm stressed and I can't handle this. So I have been watching Gilmore Girls. Okay.
Yes.
And let me tell you, I used to have so much attitude about this show. Okay. Because nothing really happens in the show. There aren't any real problems. The plots are kind of all over the place. And it just, there's a lot to be said about this show, but I watched it when I was at my worst, like having a very difficult time last year. And I cannot stop now because the coziness is just intense. I am in this safe space where there's no real danger in this town of Stars Hollow. And so I watch it. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing bad is going on. Worst case scenario. Oh no, I need money. That's okay. My parents are rich. I'll go get it from them. That is how
that's the drama.
The stories were. That's the drama. That's just one.
Okay. I want to know about a couple more. Do you have any more before I go with my confessions?
Okay. So guys, Christmas is over. Everybody knows this except for me. I'm continuing to read A Christmas Carol. Okay. And here's the thing, because I have a son and I have so much going on, I'm reading at a glacial pace. So if you know the story, I'm not even at the first ghost yet. I am just at the Marley scene when Scrooge is informed that the ghosts are coming. That's how far back I am. I have been reading this since Christmas. By the end of next year, by Christmas next year, I will have concluded A Christmas Carol. And here's the best part of this, Brenda. Talking to people who have moved on from Christmas. But because this is so in my mind, I'm telling people about the story and what's happening. And people are like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, there's been
Christmas is
multiple movies.
over.
I've never seen them. I've never read the book though. Is it like a real thick book?
No, it's not, but it's also really creepy. It's like spooky and haunting, and like people's jaws fall off, and it's intense. And I'm like excited to talk about this. And people are like, what are you talking about? It's February.
That's very cute. Do you have a third one, or is this your last?
My third one, my last one is, and this one is controversial because I know how people feel about the trad wife situation, but I like to watch food growing videos from China.
Oh, yes.
Okay. For some reason, before bed, I want to see how mandarins are grown. I want to see how pomegranates are picked. This is what I'm doing before bed. I can go on for a really long time. If I have it my way, it's like a good 20 videos of fruit growing in China. That is what's going on.
Well, those videos are really soothing, right? Those are the ones that are like with really nice music, and they are like shot really well. They're so soothing. Oh, they're so comfortable.
Beautiful. It's like comforting. Planet Earth, like Oscar-worthy close-ups on oranges. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. You know what? That sounds really, really soothing to the brain. Okay, so mine is one that I know, I'm sure lots of my like lots of the listeners here have also been indulging in this. I don't know if you have yet, Delcy, but it is Heated Rivalry. Heated Rivalry. For those that are living under a rock, this is a show about hockey players, gay hockey players that fall in love. Similar to the Gilmore Girls analysis, really there's no big conflict. It's a feel-good show. And then you get a little extra bonus story in the middle of the show with like it's like its own movie, its own standalone episode that's just beautiful from beginning to end. It is so satisfying. The last episode is so satisfying. I was very sad to know that there's no more. Like I was like, oh, this season is over. This was they could honestly, I know it's going to keep going, but they could end it where they ended it because it was just so satisfying, such a satisfying ending. And also, I mean, especially the blonde hockey player is incredibly good looking. So it's very easy on the eyes. And it's about, I mean, I don't know what it is, but Heated Rivalry reminds me of some of the other things that called to me. I really do like those movies or shows that are about longing for someone and then obviously getting them, like the beauty that happens with that, or realizing together that, wow, you're going to find each other. Because that's the formula of like 16 Candles or like, every single teen movie. It also reminded me of To All the Boys I Ever Loved, which is one of my favorite movies on Netflix. I love that movie so much that I refuse to watch. There's several other there's a second and third part. I won't watch it because the first part is just so satisfying to me. All right.
I need to watch this, but also if you're a Ducky fan, then 16 Candles didn't do it for you.
That's true. Depends on who. But just like the idea of like you having like the super hot guy that you're so in love with be out there with the car waiting for you going, yeah, you, which is a direct line and quote that happens in Heated Rivalry. Like it's just so good. And I'm so excited because I ordered my book from an independent bookstore because I had to support the indie bookstores, and that's coming. I just saw that it's coming. So I can't wait to read the book of Heated Rivalry. So that's one of my guilty pleasures that we're all indulging in. And then something else I really enjoy is the curated TikTok lists that make it to Instagram. Tamarindo, you might find us on TikTok because I didn't go in there and figure out how to turn it off, but we have not been on TikTok. Tamarindo has not been on TikTok since November of the year that this piece of trash was elected because of the stunt that they pulled. And so I try not to support TikTok by having my own account. But luckily there's these people on Instagram that curate some of the best content. And so 3 accounts that I want to call out is Very That on Instagram. Great job putting a list together of fun TikToks. Jessica Salgado, the poet, you all know her, also does a great job. And then Carolina Miranda, who we've had on this podcast to talk about her TikTok curation. So if you are like me and are trying to mitigate your TikTok consumption or trying to not be on it, these are some accounts that are still on it for now, at least, and have been sharing some great curation.
Yes.
And then the last thing I do that definitely is a guilty pleasure because it is a total waste of time. But when I take a shower, one of my favorite things to do is, first of all, take a super long hot shower, which is indulgent. And then I put my robe on, and then I lay down on my bed, and that's where I do a lot of scrolling. I do a lot of scrolling in my robe, and it just feels so good. And the other type of scrolling that feels really good is when you've arrived at your destination. Usually it's when I arrive home. I just sit in the car and do a little bit of scrolling.
Oh my God, yes. The first one takes me back to when people used to look at magazines, like print media in their robes outside their hotel rooms and things like that. That's a classic. The car thing is very interesting because I find myself doing that too. There's nothing like it. Like sometimes, in the past, if there was a line to something like an In-N-Out line, I was upset. Now I'm like, a couple of minutes to zone out on my phone.
Yeah, it's sacred time. You're the most alone,
Peaceful.
right? You're the most alone when you're in your car. And so, yes, and I'm sure even more so now, like that's such a sacred time. Okay, we've talked about our guilty pleasures, so let's take a break. Brenda here from Tamarindo, and I want to personally invite you to join me for our third annual Encuentro, a restorative retreat to Puebla, Mexico, April 30th through May 4th. This is an incredible experience for badass mujeres who need a break. Immerse yourself in Puebla's cultural attractions, build community, and leave recharged with tools to thrive. Perfect if you're seeking renewal and intentional connection in a supportive and uplifting space. The dates are April 30th through May 4th in Puebla, just a couple hours away from Mexico City. Space is extremely limited. We're looking for 8 travelers. And if you bring a friend, you each can save $400. Go to tamarindopodcast.com and find Encuentro from the menu. Once again, that's tamarindopodcast.com and search Encuentro. Next up is our chat with Idalia Valles, a creative whose work challenges cultural taboos and celebrates the full spectrum of Latin identity. This conversation is a true delight. Okay, but before that, I want to ask you for a favor. Can you write us an Apple Podcast review? It's a little love note that keeps our work going. It means so much to us. So please write us a review on whatever platform you listen on. I know most of you are on Apple, so please do that there. It means so much to us. Also, did you know that we have a YouTube channel? We do, so you can catch some snippets of interviews, but it's also another way that you can hear the full episode. So just look for Tamarindo Podcast, and this is a way that you could share it with some folks that maybe don't know about podcasts and are only familiar with YouTube. All right, with that, let's hear our chat with Idalia Valles. All right, welcome Idalia to Tamarindo. It's so good to have you.
It's so good to be here. Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, so when I see your bio and plus the things I see that you're involved in, the word that comes to mind is multi-hyphenated, which describes so many of us. So from in front of the lens, behind the lens, on the mic, where do you draw inspiration and motivation to move around the world so creatively?
Well, I grew up in a house that fostered my creativity, and my parents didn't box it into one thing. My mom was all about having fun and exploration. She really led with that. And since I didn't speak English growing up, we are a Spanish household, and English was taught at school. My mom always found really fun ways to teach me how to speak English. And so we would sing, like Sesame Street things or The Big Comfy Couch and dance. And then she would buy Tatiana.
Oh, yes. Throwback.
Remember Tatiana? Whatever, the duck or whatever. So I just think because I was thinking about this a lot, and I feel like the foundation of my life was just always very, how many books can we read? How many songs can we sing? How many movies can we watch? And it all had a purpose to just, learn more, but it became just the way of life. So I think that's where I draw a lot of inspiration. And I never like to say that I'm a thing. I never want to associate myself as I am an actor, because I am not an actor. I love to act and I love doing things that are acting based, but I'm so many things. And that's just my starting point of like, what do I feel like doing today? Because I think also as a kid, you're told like, what do you want to do? And then you have this idea of what you want to do. And then maybe a lot of times you don't reevaluate because that's just a story you're telling yourself in your head. And so you grow up, specifically me and a lot of people that I grew up with, I grew up doing musical theater. So we all grew up being like, we're musical theater kids. And then you get to your 20s and maybe you feel like you want to do something else, but you never even think about it because your whole time you've been focused on like, no, the only thing I want to do is do musical theater. So I'm just really open and aware about that, just because I like doing so many things and I'm not bad at doing so many things. I think it just comes easily to me in a way of like exploration. Right now, currently, I'm actually going to college for marketing and advertisement and film studies. And so in my head, I'm like, I want to live a part of my life where I'm the CEO of a marketing company and I'm just like in a boardroom talking about the best commercials we can make for this brand, So it just ebbs and flows on what I want to do.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, so relatable. I mean, what I'm hearing too is like play. I feel like play and exploration being kind of foundational to allowing you to dabble in different things and try different things and just kind of break free. So I think so many of us have I love what you said, that we sort of have a script. We have like an idea of what something is and we march forward towards that. And not always allowing ourselves to play and explore and see what else we're good at. Turns out there's many things you could be good at. So I think that's great.
Totally. And like, I love carrying the feeling of embarrassment and like failure. Like, I'm not afraid of failure. I can be really bad at something. I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I'm so bad at this. Like, that's crazy. How can I figure it out? Or how can I, challenge myself to do better at it? So I love exploring that side of me. And I love being embarrassed and being like, oh, that was not it. Okay, great. So I don't know, it just makes me feel alive and makes me feel like, this is what life is all about, is like understanding what you're good at and what you're not. And that keeps it fun.
It sounds so fun. I love all that. Well, one of the projects that I'm recently in love with is your musical project. So Boy Huerca. And this is like a tropical sound, electronic, soulful, and also sultry, super fun. Tell us about this project.
So this project is a collaboration between me and my musical partner, Haider Mir. And he's awesome. He's a biomedical engineer / neuroscientist turned music composer. And we've always just liked exploring with sounds and seeing what comes up with it. And for the past 7 years, after doing that so much, we've kind of created our own sound that really mixes our cultures together. He's half Pakistani, half Mexican. Obviously, we're both American, and I'm Mexican and American. And so it's just like, what was the sounds of our childhood all put together, plus the new sounds, and so it's that. Huerca is what my dad calls me. And a boy, for me, I don't know, I think it was just fun. Everyone, when they meet me, they're like, oh, you're such a boy. You have such a boy energy. And also it was to include him in some way as well, of like, there's another person in there. So Boy Huerca is where that came from. But yeah, we also find a lot of inspiration with our music, with paintings and books. So there was like one specific Dali painting that we both found randomly, and we were like, whoa, this deserves kind of like a score, let's score a song to this painting. And then that's how we created Spanish Dances in a Landscape, which was the title of the Dali painting. Or we read 100 Years of Solitude, and that's one of my favorite books. And I was like, oh, let's create a song that's like, I don't know, close to 100 Years of Solitude. So we remade Cien Años, the classical Mexican song, but like in a ghostly Boy Huerca way. So that's where we draw inspiration from, and it keeps us just also in that like playtime.
Yeah, and I just recently listened to Soy La Sad Girl, right? La Sad Girl. I love this one. Tell me a little bit more about this particular song.
So this one, I vividly remember this. I was a fresh bachelorette, newly single, and I was in my kitchen making eggs. And I just got a visual. I get a lot of visuals, and I turn those into scripts or sketches or whatever. But this one specifically, since my partner and I were writing, the visual I got was being in bed by myself and then flashing to being in bed when you're with the partner, and the difference between what's in front of you, which is nothing, and then someone's smile. And so I was just like, this is cool. So like, what's a song about being alone in bed and just like feeling nothing? And like, I was kind of leaning into the sadness of it all. But also we wanted to add like a fun vibe to it. But the original song is actually very acoustic and sad and slow, which we're going to come out with next month. And but yeah, that's where the song was born.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped making my eggs, and then I wrote all the lyrics on an envelope, and I was like, this is the song. And then Hyder, as a genius as he is, just like immediately put guitar to it, and then the song was born.
Yeah, and what I really like about it is that it does start really slow, then all of a sudden it's like a cosmic explosion that you can't help but dance to. So I think it's great. So you got to check out that amazing song and all your musical projects, I think are great. Well, I want to like shift back to, I mean, you're an actor, you've been in front and behind the scenes. So, and one thing we can't deny is that our community is under attack, right? Our community is just like, any second I look at my phone, it's just one horrific news headline after another. And I want to know what your thoughts on the connection between the way our community is vilified and the way our community is, first of all, we're hardly ever portrayed in media, but when we are, it maybe reinforces some harmful narratives. Where do you see connection with like how we're represented and how we're treated in policy?
I actually think it's like 100% the problem. I mean, obviously there's more outside sources that are the problem, but just starting there, media shapes everything. Media is story. Media is how people see the world, right? And it influences how people see the world. And if, for example, me, who I grew up here and I am a lot of things in my real life world, in my audition world, in my actor world, about 90% of the auditions that I get are in the world of drugs, cartel, doing bad things, having an accent, which I love to portray people that represent the culture of my accent. Like I love that, but they only see us as people who are suffering and people who haven't evolved into whatever it is that, where life takes us. And so I think a lot of outside sources see us as only this one thing, these criminals, people always selling drugs. My parents have never even touched drugs. And as many other people that I know, I haven't either. It's like not a thing that we do. And it's just so sad that these are most of the stories being told about us, that we do bad things. And I think that there's that there is a lot of responsibility on Hollywood's hands for the way that we are treated in this world. Mm-hmm. And you can just see it in Latin cinema. In Latin cinema, we are just people with all types of stories, going from, the most traumatic to the happiest. And to me, I'm like, are you scared of showing our love on TV? Is that very threatening to you to, show our happiness on TV? Because how is it so crazy that you can think of us as these insane criminal villains, but you can't, your brain can't wrap your head around us being educated or us being kind or us just being cool. And it even goes deeper than that, where it's like women, Latina women on TV are usually always had 7 babies since they were 12 years old, and they're only mothers, which like, I know a lot of women that are young mothers and that's what they primarily do. I get it. I know that's the thing, but we don't leave outside of that circle. And it's just wild that they can't see us as just like, I don't know, normal people, not normal people, but like just people that aren't the stereotypes of what they think. And I also believe that we as a culture, as a Chicana culture, have created a beautiful look, a beautiful makeup look, a beautiful way of dressing. And they use that as the butt of their jokes. And they make like the chola makeup as like represent something bad. And it's like, no, this makeup represents something beautiful in our community that actually very high end fashion houses are using and have used to represent glamour. But when they show it on us, it represents something bad. And so it's just those little things, those like microaggressions that create a very big problem in society.
Yeah. And everything you mentioned, right? The roles are reinforce stereotypes. There's very few roles. They don't show the full dynamic experience that it is to be Latina or to be, we don't get to be in rom-coms, right? We don't get to be protagonists much. We don't get to have agency. And so that translates into we are disposable when it comes to policy, right? That's the outcome that ends up happening. And there's, this is not a new conversation, right? Like, how many times have I heard conversations about representation in media and Latino representation? And there's flashpoints where this kind of resurfaces. So very recently, there was one of these flashpoints. So we know there was the casting of Odessa Asian in the role of Zoe Gutierrez, who was supposed to be a Latina. And luckily, she chose to step away from the role after all the backlash. But I'm curious if there's always a bunch of think pieces that are produced after this. What are some of the things that are out there, or like, did anything resonate with you about the conversation that emerged from this recent debacle, or what are your thoughts about it?
I mean, yeah, I think Gloria Calderon wrote a really awesome think piece about it, and it wasn't showing that Odessa was like a bad person. It was just showing just the fact of the matter that these things slip all the time from our community, and it just that's what happened. But I'm glad that she was kind enough to see what the situation was and step down from it. I think that's really responsible of her, and I think we need everyone on board to help this situation, not just us carrying our own weight of the problem, but it's like a whole, everyone as a whole. But I hope that it doesn't just stop at the think pieces and at the public outcry. I hope it actually turns into something good for our community. So that's just what I hope that people take into account, that we are watching and we are trying to hold people accountable, hoping to better this for other actors. And I always say, like, even if I don't make it successfully, at least I'm moving the needle. At least I'm moving the needle for like the next girl that comes to LA that wants this dream. I'm like, well, at least I made it a little bit easier for you. Hopefully, right? Hopefully, that's the dream. So it's like, it doesn't go in vain. Mm-hmm. So that's where it stands.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, because I think we could take some pride in that the community got activated, right? They got activated, and look, people were held accountable. And it is almost a little sad that the person that's like the person that had to lose out on this role is really not the most responsible in this, right? It's the many, many people in casting and thinking and that probably did not do this with any intent, because they don't even think about us. Like, that's the problem, is that they don't sin querer queriendo, because they don't fucking think about us. But I love that we were able to lift up our voice, and there was actual change. But it means that we need to do more. And also, I appreciate you bringing up Gloria Calderon Kellett, because she's writing these roles that we're asking for, right? She's writing these rom-coms. She's writing these multi-faceted experiences of Latinidad. And we need more people doing that sort of work. And these instances should not be just about let's punish, but like what can we do differently? Let's lift up the Gloria Calderon Kellett. Let's lift up the Idalia Valles. Like, who can we lift up to step in and have more of these projects, so that we can show our community in the multiple colors that we show up in.
Totally. And it's interesting, because I don't feel alone in this journey. There's so many of us doing the same thing. Like, my beautiful mentor, Natalie Chaidez, she writes on so many things. She's an amazing showrunner. Dalen Rodriguez, who was one of the showrunners on Queen of the South, is now the creator of The Lincoln Lawyer, or one of the showrunners on Lincoln Lawyer. And there's so many people out there. Gina Rodriguez. There's so many people out there that are doing the work. So it's not a lonely journey. It's just like all of us pushing at the same time, which is why it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, all of us pushing at the same time. Yeah. You named some great examples. Lincoln Lawyer is a perfect example of like a character that like it's not just suffering, Yeah, I think those are all really awesome examples, and hopefully there's more things for us to be watching and for us to be supporting as consumers. So we all have a role to play in this. All right. Well, okay. So as we've mentioned, there's lots of heaviness going on in the news. I want to know, and earlier we had a conversation on this episode about our guilty pleasures, like the way that we're giving our brain like a little bit of a break by doing something joyful that maybe we're a little bit embarrassed about. Do you have any guilty pleasures?
I don't have any guilty pleasures because I'm not embarrassed about anything that I do.
Yes.
But if there was something that was like, oh, wow, as an adult, why are you doing that? It's, well, okay. I just went to New York for a bit and I bought a book at McNally Jackson bookstore, which is female owned. And then I went to a book bar called Bibliothèque, and I sat there for hours, like from day till night. And I just read the whole book in one sitting. And to me, as an adult who's like lives in a busy world where you should be like doing a lot of things in one day, I was like, wow, I cannot believe I just sat here and I read a book in one whole sitting. Like from like ordering tea and croissants to like I ordered a vermouth spritz and olives at night. It was like, oh. And to me that's the juiciest thing ever. I was like on a high that day. At night I was like, that was the best thing I've ever done ever. And I know that was definitely a pleasure. That was pleasure.
Decadent. That sounds decadent, right? In a world with so much hustle, like to literally read a book in one sitting. Yeah. Also, and I did see this in your stories. I was like, oh my God, maybe I can pick up this book and read it real quick so we could talk about it. I didn't get to do that. That was too ambitious. But did you enjoy the book? Now I want
so much. It was called Heart the Lover by Lily King. And it was like a beautiful triangle of love situation told in the perspective of the woman, and it jumps decades.
It sounds decadent, sounds juicy. I'm all about those books that are so much fun.
Now I'm reading this one.
Oh yes, All About Love, Bell Hooks, a must read. Yes, of course.
I've never read it before, and I was like, I think I have to, especially since it's February. So, and I have a book club. It's a reading club where I invite people to read with me at the park. So we don't have to read the same thing, but we're all just in community reading. So I'm going to start that back up now that the weather is nice, and tell people, these are the books I've read, so that if you want to pick one up, you can.
I've also seen this in your stories, and I'm like, oh my God, I would be so itching to come because I'm such a like talker, I like, wow, respect to the folks that could do that.
Thank you. There's a flow that happens. Like we'll read a couple of pages and then maybe someone will be like, anyone have anything good they want to say, and then we get back. And there's like always a couple of my friends that come because they think it's a party, and they always end up like in the corner of the park, just like chatting for the whole 3 or 4 hours. So it's pick your own experience. As long as you're in community, it's fine.
Yeah, I love that. That sounds joyful. Okay, so rapid fire closeout questions that we ask all our guests. Okay. Number one, what is one thing you're celebrating that what we say was, you have a matraca for it, something you're celebrating?
Something I'm celebrating is the thing that I'm celebrating in 2026 is that if something bad happens, I have to go, that's life. I just have to like accept it and then keep going instead of being like traumatized and thinking about it for like 30 hours reeling. I have to go, that's life. Life is beautiful, and just keep going.
This is a great practice. I think that's a great practice. We can all adopt it. I think that's good. Okay, what goes in la basura? And it could be like a concept, a place, a person, a thing. Like, what are you done with? What goes in la basura?
What goes in la basura is this weird thing that actors carry that like you didn't book a job, that means you suck at acting. It's just like, dude, whatever. I've been an assistant sometimes on the casting side, and they literally are like, she was amazing, but not the right hair color or not the right size. It's just like, so whatever. So you shouldn't carry such deep, I don't know, feelings about not getting cast.
I love it. Because okay. So what you're saying is in so many cases, it's something so trivial that it has nothing to do with your value, your worth. Yeah. And so La Basura placing so much value and worth in those rejections and those no's and those things that aren't for you. Yeah. I like that. I think that's great. And then lastly, what's something that's been inspiring you lately?
Something that's been inspiring me lately. Oh, okay. Well, this is a cheat because it's always been inspiring me lately, but like my mom is just so inspiring to me. She's just every phase of her life, because obviously I've seen her since she was, young, and this 30s young mom into, now different. She's just so amazing. She handles every phase of growing older in a beautiful way. And she helps me not be so scared of getting old, because she makes it look divine. And she's not old, but of aging. I mean.
Of aging, yeah.
Yeah. So she's my inspo right now. Now that I'm kind of hitting a different phase in my age, things are changing inside of me and outside of me and my perspectives. I'm like taking notes on how my mom did it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that you started this conversation with your mom being the source of what allowed you all this joy and exploration, and ending with your mom. So this is a sweet love letter on Valentine's month for your mom. I think that's very sweet. Okay, with that, thank you so much for stopping by. This was so much fun. Okay, closing out this episode today with our Matraca Basura Inspiración. Delcy, do you want to kick us off with your matraca?
Yes, I want to give my matraca this week to people who keep their plans. Folks who have non-flaky energy. They show up when they say they're going to show up. You're rare. You are appreciated. You help me emotionally regulate. And I say that because I met a couple with a baby around the same age as my son at an Argentine restaurant. And the woman was like, hey, you know what? We have kids around the same age. You seem cool. Do you want to hang out? We said yes. And this was months ago. We planned it. And I almost 100% thought she would not follow through. But we met at Barnesdale Park. We had the time of our lives. It was wonderful. We had such a good time. Turns out we both lived in New York around the same time. So we had all kinds of things in common. And I thought, this is amazing to have people just follow through, spend time together. So matracas to those of you that have a non-flaky energy.
Unsung heroes, right? These are unsung heroes. And also, I love that meet cute. I love that you all met just chit-chatting and that you're hanging out. I think that's great. And what a great place to meet. What a beautiful place to hang out. Okay, so my matraca, look, y'all, we know the news is just atrocious. It's been so heavy. So we've been a little bit light on it on this podcast. And even this matraca only gently touches on it. So my matraca goes to Representative Veronica Escobar for this quote, which really sums it all up. She says, it couldn't be more obvious that this administration doesn't care about human beings. And she's saying this after her and many Democratic colleagues have toured and seen the sites where people that are, it's just so tragic when you really think about what is happening. These are just regular people, regular families, parents, people that already went through so much to be here are being held in really disgusting quarters. The whole thing that's happening is just so disgusting. And so my matraca goes to the Democratic representatives that are holding hearings, that are making sure that we're seeing this, that are shining a light on these atrocities of the trash administration and holding the line in fighting back, right? In real results. We know Joaquin Castro visiting where Liam, the child that captured everybody's heart, visiting where he is and getting him out. And there's many other kids in that situation. And it's just, we have to be mindful that, well, first of all, we all know it's horrible, but note that there are people making doing what they can. They're making a difference, but really it's up to us. It's going to be up to each and every single one of us to stay engaged and to vote these fuckers out, straight up. Okay. Woo, all right. So my matraca was sort of like a basura. I kind of did a backhanded thing. But what is your basura?
My basura, it goes to perfectionism. Okay. I lately have been working with a lot of new people in various aspects of my life. And I've had to, when you start working with with folks, you have to kind of get to know their style, and then you kind of mold your style with theirs, and that's how you're successful. But I'm having a hard time because perfectionism is not getting things accomplished, folks. Progress over perfectionism every day. Imperfect work matters more than imaginary perfection. If it's not done, it doesn't exist, even if it exists in your mind, folks. So for me, basura to this idea that it'll come, perfection will come. I'd rather get it done and keep moving forward, folks. That's a corporate work rant.
Because it gets in the way of progress. Let's get shit done,
Yeah, let's get moving.
Yes. And also in a way that's sort of like a good representation of how many progressives we look for that perfect candidate and then look at where we are.
That's a really good point.
Let's move forward. That is a really good
point. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my basura also work related. My basura is to looping me in. Can we stop? Like, I don't need to be brought in. I don't want to give you my perspective. You don't need my perspective. You don't need my point of view. I don't need to be involved. Just tell me what to do. I'll freaking do it. Please, don't loop me in. Don't loop me in.
You know what it is? It's when you're a competent person.
I'm like, no, por favor.
They're
no,
looping
don't ask
you
me.
into all the things.
Don't loop me in. Don't loop me in. Okay.
It's a bumper sticker.
Déjenme. Leave me alone. Loop me out. Loop me out.
I'm going to loop my way out of here.
I love the move when people go, I'm going to BCC you to save you email space. God, I love that. Kisses. Beautiful.
Yes.
All right. What is your inspiración?
I want to say that a lot of the country is dealing with frozen conditions right now, right? There's a lot of cold weather going on. And I happen to know personally quite a few people, but one person in particular who takes so much time to create shelters outside for animals. Just, going to collect the hay and buying all of these different materials and in the cold, working really hard to create 14, 15 shelters and putting them all around their neighborhood, worried about the cats and the raccoons and the possums and all of the animals that are dealing with freezing cold temperatures right now. And there's this kind of like quiet, anonymous kindness that is so beautiful that's happening. And they're not the only person, there's so many people doing this. And so it's like a community care act. It's kind of proof that softness still exists in the world, even if it's not viewed and it's not on display. So I'm super inspired by that because I'm someone who would say, oh no, y los gatitos, but then do nothing. So I love to watch what is the next step here. You really can take action in your own little way.
Oh, that's so sweet. I had no idea that there are angels doing this beautiful work. And I didn't even consider these poor, street cats that are out there freezing. I know I've been seeing a lot of crazy videos of the iguanas falling off trees in Florida from the freezing temperatures. Aww. So yes. Ay, pobrecitos. Okay. My inspiración is Jennifer Lopez for never giving up on her dreams. And this is in reference to recent accounts of her and Ben making out. She never gives up. And she's so inspirational for that. And she's inspired me also to tell you all that I'm also not giving up on one of the things that's been on my mind lately is I'm looking for a tenant. I'm never giving up on finding the perfect tenant for my 2-bedroom, 2-bath, wood floor, washer and dryer in unit, your own balcony, your own parking spot. If this speaks to you and you're looking for a place to live in Los Angeles, get in touch with me.
Yes. You know what? First of all, you live next to a metro station. That's enough for me. But I will say I approve this message regarding your condo. What I don't approve of is Ben Affleck. I don't approve. I don't understand the appeal.
I don't understand his appeal for her, to be honest. I like him.
Really? That's interesting. I see her
great
appeal.
Spanish. He studied like international relations.
I think he's rude. No?
Well, Jennifer Lopez would disagree.
I think people think she's rude too, so maybe they're a pair.
They're a pair. Well, let's see. Let's have some wagers. Do you think they will get back together at this, like officially at the end of this year? Will they be together in December?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes, because I feel like they're wrapped up in each other's web. And if you've ever been wrapped up in somebody's orbit, then you know what it is to be on and then off and then on and then off in that toxic spiral of chaos, and how delicious it can be, folks.
Yes.
So luckily I have moved past that chaos. At least I'd like to hope so. But I can tell you that I know exactly what that feels like. And I think they'll be back together soon.
They probably will. It's a long one. Okay. With that, y'all, thank you for listening. Please write us a review. Like we've said, it really, truly takes 2 minutes. It helps us so much. Share this episode with a friend. There are so many podcasts out there, and we can drown in that ocean. So lift us up, throw us a raft. Throw us a lifesaver. SOS. Okay, with that, get through the week, Delcy. Have a good rest of your work week. And y'all, ponte un suéter.
Saludos a la familia, everyone.
Tamarindo Podcast is hosted by Brenda Gonzalez and Delcy Sandoval. We're also the show's executive producers. Jeff Ricards wrote our theme song, and Sonoro Media's Karina Riverroll provides production support. If you like what you hear, please take a few minutes to rate and review Tamarindo Podcast or share this episode with a friend. It really helps us grow. To get in touch with us, find us at tamarindopodcast.com. Thank you for listening.